Hi, I'm Ann Schoen. Welcome to my kitchen. Today I'm preparing Meyer lemon raspberry Napoleons for the real women of Philadelphia using freshly picked Meyer lemons from my backyard. To get started today, I already have 8 ounces of cream cheese, Philadelphia cream cheese, in my mini food processor. To that, I will be adding sour cream, sugar, grated lemon rind, Meyer lemon rind, and fresh lemon juice. To that I will also add 1 teaspoon of lemon extract. I will then mix this together. So now we've mixed this for just a few minutes, and we need to scrape the bowl down to make sure that we have everything incorporated. We're going to run this again for just a few seconds. Put the lid back on. We're going to go ahead and run this, more or less pulse it. There we go. Now it's well mixed. Now we're going to do the pastry part of our Meyer lemon Napoleons, and we're going to be working with phyllo dough. Phyllo dough is very interesting to work with because it's very thin sheets. It dries out easily. So there's a few things you need to know. That you should put it on a cloth, and then you will cover it with a piece of saran and with a towel, and then just hope that your pieces are going to come off nice and neatly. You can fix some of this sometimes if it doesn't fall apart, but if this dries out, it's not much you can do about it. So as soon as we take the 1 sheet off, we're going to be layering 3 sheets. We cover it back up with our damp cloth and our saran. So we are going to take our phyllo sheet, and I'm going to dot butter, unsalted melted butter, on this, and then I'm going to spread it over, being very, very gentle because we're working with a very delicate piece of pastry that is lovely when it's finished. It's just can be a little bit difficult to deal with if you've not worked with it. Then I'm going to take, I have an organic sugar that I am going to sprinkle in between the layers. So when you're working with phyllo, you want to make sure that you put a butter in between if it's going to be a sweet, and you're going to sprinkle a little bit of sugar on top of that. We'll then go, and we're going to go for our second layer of phyllo. So we'll pull that off. Even if it splits a little bit like you just saw it do, that's okay if you're very careful and get the rest. You can kind of lay that on top. You want to align that on the sheet so that we're going to cut these in squares, so we want this aligned as well as possible. Again, making sure you're covering up your dough each and every time. Again, we're going to dot it with the unsalted butter. Then we'll spread that around again. Then we're going to sprinkle it with the sugar. So we'll have layer number 2. And then we will proceed with the third. Sprinkle it with our sugar. Layer number 3. So you can see where it starts to come a little apart. You just simply work with it very, oh, we left a little piece over there. I'll pull that down and come back over here. I'm going to piece it together. You could either do that or you could toss it and simply go with another sheet so that you're not spending so much time. There we go, covering our dough. We're going to put some more butter on it. After I'm done, I'm going to kind of mark the dough with a ruler because I'm looking for certain size pieces, and you want them to be similar in size since we're going to be using this as a Napoleon, we'll be stacking these, and we need to cut them about the same. So I think we're going to do it about 3 by 3s. And what you'll find with pastry, this pastry, it's about an 11.5 by 15. I like to use a pasta cutter. I think it works well. So we're going to mark 3, 6, 9, and then we're going to mark this side with, which is about 15 inches in length. And we'll mark this. That's about 3. And do another 3. Okay, so we're just going to come up this way, and you're going to have to come across on your dough a couple of times, come down over it to make sure you get a clear cut. I've worked with many things. I've worked with knives before, and I like this crimped pastry wheel because I like the way it kind of seals the layers together, and it just seems to cut through it very nicely. So we'll work coming across here, and then I'm just going to show you how I'm going to take that off. I'm going to put it on a parchment lined baking sheet. So we'll take a few of these off, and if they're a little stuck together, you just pull them apart. We're going to lay them on a baking sheet, and for just purposes of this, to expedite this, we'll just go ahead and I'll show you how. I'm just going to put them in the oven at a 325. I'm working on convection today, and I'm going to bake them for about 5 or 6 minutes until they're lightly brown. So let's just see some of the pastry squares that I've already made. And what I'd like you to see is there's different shapes, different sizes. So each of these has a stack of 3, and you could decide what shape you would like to make your Napoleon in. Today we will be working with the squares. These are prepared, the pastry, and I'll just show you the sample of some of the pastries that I had prepared that in the different sizes, say a 3 by 3, a 2 by 3. So we can use any of these various sizes that you want. That's up to you, as I have shown you when I made the phyllo pastries. So what I'd like to do now is I would like to put my presentation together for my dessert. So we will start with our phyllo dough. And anytime you're working with something that you want it to stay on your plate, the best thing to do is to put a little dollop in the middle of your plate. You then place your pastry in the middle. You will then take some of your lemon cream, place it on your phyllo dough. We will then take the raspberries, fresh raspberries. Don't wash them too much ahead of time because raspberries tend to break down a little bit, so you don't want to have them washed too much ahead of time. So we're going to put 6 raspberries on this layer, and then I'm going to put another layer of phyllo dough, and to that I'm going to add more of the lemon cream. Then I'm going to add the raspberries again on top of this. There we go. Have about 6. Then we're going to add another layer of our phyllo dough. To that, I'm just going to add a dollop on the top of this, and then I will place 1 raspberry with a little wedge of Meyer lemon. Thank you for joining me today in my kitchen in preparing Meyer lemon raspberry Napoleons.